The glass doors closed behind him with a sound that felt heavier than failure, a final click that echoed through his chest as he stepped onto the cold pavement with his daughter's small hand wrapped tightly in his. The interview was over, the opportunity gone, and the weight of being a single father with rent overdue and hope running thin pressed down on him harder than ever. He did not look back at the towering office building, because looking back hurt too much, and walking forward was the only thing he knew how to do anymore. Before the story unfolds any further, pause for just a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that change lives, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel Brightly Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. He had dressed carefully that morning, ironing his jacket while his daughter ate breakfast at the small kitchen table, her feet swinging above the floor. Every button he fastened felt like a promise he was trying to keep, not just to an employer he had never met before, but to the little girl who trusted him with her whole world. The babysitter had canceled at the last minute, so he had no choice but to bring his daughter along, explaining softly that she would need to sit quietly in the lobby. He hated that feeling, the sense that life kept forcing him to choose between being a good father and being a reliable worker, as if the two could not exist in the same space. Inside the building, everything smelled of polish and success. People moved quickly, confidently, their shoes clicking with purpose. He waited longer than expected, watching the minutes crawl by while his daughter leaned against his leg, patient but tired. When he was finally called in, he stood up straight, smoothed his jacket, and walked into the interview room with hope flickering quietly inside him. He spoke honestly about his skills, his past work, and his willingness to give everything he had. He did not hide the fact that he was a single father, because lying had never been his strength, and because his daughter was the reason he fought so hard. But he could see it in their eyes, that subtle shift, the polite nods that grew colder, the unspoken concern about flexibility, reliability, and inconvenience. When the interview ended, there were no harsh words, no outright rejection, just the familiar, gentle dismissal he had learned to recognize over the years. "We will be in touch" had become the sentence that followed him like a shadow. He thanked them, took his daughter's hand, and walked out with his head held high because she was watching, and he wanted her to see strength even when his heart felt cracked open. Outside, the city moved on without noticing him. Cars passed, people laughed, phones rang, and life continued at a pace that did not wait for broken dreams. His daughter looked up at him with eyes full of trust, unaware of the storm of thoughts racing through his mind. He wondered how many more times he could face that same walk of quiet defeat, how many more nights he could stretch a single meal into two, how many more apologies he would owe her for a life that felt permanently on pause. What he did not know was that several floors above him, something unexpected was happening. The CEO of the company, a woman known for her sharp instincts and high standards, had been reviewing interview notes when one detail caught her attention. A candidate who brought his child to an interview, not out of carelessness, but out of necessity. A man who spoke with skill but also with honesty, who did not pretend his life was simple. Something about that detail lingered, stirring a memory she rarely allowed herself to revisit, a memory of her own childhood, of waiting quietly in hallways while her parents struggled to hold everything together. She asked questions, more than she usually did. She watched the security footage, saw the way he held his daughter's hand, saw the way he bent slightly to listen to her even while standing in a place designed to intimidate. She felt something shift, a realization that competence was not always loud, and dedication did not always come wrapped in perfect circumstances. Without overthinking it, she stood up, grabbed the folder, and walked quickly toward the elevator, her heels striking the floor with urgency she could not fully explain. Down on the street, the father and daughter had reached the edge of the building's shadow. He was already planning his next step, scanning his mind for job listings, calculating how long he could keep going before asking for help he did not want to ask for. Then behind him, movement broke the rhythm of the street. The glass doors opened again, faster this time, and someone stepped out with purpose, calling after him in a way that cut through the noise of the city.